Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Smashing Bugs. I'm Rob.
I'm Jackie.
And we are currently sitting in the middle of literally Nowheresville. We're in the great state of Missouri. We're actually in the Ozarks. And it's been a while since we posted. So today we're just going to try to bring everybody up to speed, kind of what we've been doing, and to let everybody know that we have not gone away. But we are geared up to start this channel over again. We haven't posted anything. When's the last time we posted?
Oh, it's been a few months. It's probably been October, November. I don't remember, but I may have done a short or two since then, but nothing major.
Yeah. It's needless to say, life has kind of gotten in the way, and we're gonna talk a little bit about that today. We want to encourage you to stay tuned. We are coming back on this channel with a new commitment to growing the channel and keeping everybody posted about what we're doing. So we had initially started this channel as an RV channel, and that's exactly what it still is, with a little bit of a twist. We'll still be posting a lot of travel videos, and I've got a ton of them already in the queue that I've just been too busy or too lazy to edit and get up here. But we're going to be kind of rolling those out over the next couple of weeks. But just kind of bring everybody up to date and what we're doing here today and where we are. We are in a like I said, in Missouri. We're in the Missouri Ozarks, just north of the Arkansas border. A few years ago, we bought a piece of property up here, 8.5 acres. Not a huge piece of property, but big enough to allow some privacy. And
it's large to me. It's large to us.
It'll be large to me, especially when I actually start working on it. And we have done. We've taken some initial steps to get the property going. As you all know, we have until recently been in Padre Island, Texas, and a lot of you may be wondering, why in the world would you leave Padre Island, Texas, to go to the Missouri Ozarks? Well,
to come to the cold, to come to where it's cold part of the year.
Exactly. Well, there's a lot of different reasons.
Or there's no Gulf Coast or beach, that I loved.
And we absolutely love the beach, and we're going to continue to go back and forth to the beach. This piece of property up here is going to be our summer home, and even though our goal is to be full-time RVers, we still just there's a lot of you out there that are full-time, and you just threw caution to the wind, got rid of your home, got rid of all your possessions, which is exactly what we did. But there was still that little piece of us that felt like, we still wanted to own a piece of property somewhere. And Missouri is Jackie's home. Of course, she's from. We actually met in Kansas City while I was working up there, and I told her then that I would not be staying in Missouri because it's too cold up here. And so for the past 15, 16 years, 14 years?
14.
For the last 14 years, we've been living in Texas. Started out in northern Texas, and then moved down to the Gulf Coast, where we really enjoyed ourselves, and we'll be going back there again, just as visitors instead of residents going forward. But I'm kind of rambling here a little bit. I want to try to make this as succinct as possible. But Jackie's from here. All of her family is from here. We both have always loved the Ozarks area. Any of you that have visited this area will probably appreciate and know what we're talking about on that. And this was just it was close enough to my family, even though they're all in Texas. Really, we kind of mapped it out. I'm not any further from my family in West Texas here than I was living in Corpus Christi. Because Corpus Christi really was the end of the world. And as much as
if I could interject. So we're not any further really from your family, maybe about the same. And maybe even an easier drive. But I was a lot further from my family. And everyone has their own lives, and that's okay. And we were still able to visit and so forth. And they generously came and visited us. And of course, I think they enjoyed seeing, where we lived on the Gulf. But now it felt like a chasm, and it was harder to overcome. And especially as we're getting to a different phase, a different chapter of our life.
Yeah. She means we're getting older.
we felt value in not having such distance, and having a little more accessibility to get back and forth. Add to that, and I'll give the mic back to you, because this is more about you just giving an explanation. We can talk more about this later. Add to that, I love it here. I mean, and I feel that there's some inspiration for both of us here. As far as neither of us have lived in the Ozarks, and there's just a rugged beauty and and a sense of peace and separation from, not from people necessarily, but from just the day-to-day world.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stress in the world, as we all know, but there's a way to, luckily we have Starlink, which we set up right before moving here, as well as other ability to get internet. Even where we're staying right now has a really good internet connection, and all of those things to say we can continue to operate. We can continue to serve clients in the businesses we run, as well as feel and imbibe in the nature in a whole new way.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, I mean, we both have always loved this area. Even when we lived in Kansas City, we didn't visit it as much as we wanted to, but I've always said Missouri is just a beautiful state, but it's only beautiful to me for about 6 months out of the year, because I do not like the cold and I do not like the snow. And once I have to wear pants every day, then I'm out at that program at that point. But I'm kind of getting off track. But this video today is just kind of reintroduce ourselves. To our viewers, and hopefully we'll pick up a few more. We've really got some great footage coming up. We've taken several trips that we haven't posted, and I'm gonna be rolling those out over the next couple of weeks. And so again, today is just kind of a, hey, we're still here. This is where we're at now, and this is what the channel is going to look like going forward. We're going to going forward. You're going to start seeing us rolling out some footage of getting our raw land and making it livable. Our initially we'll just be putting an RV spot on the property, and with plans to build. We've actually already picked out the build site, and we'll be showing some footage of that. As a matter of fact, I'm sure I'm including some of that in this video today. And then we're hoping that by the end of summer we'll be able to actually start building our permanent residence. I will tell you, we're going to, our permanent residence is not going to be anything major. We've both decided that we can definitely live in a smaller space. We've been living in our Brinkley now since October.
So I think 6.5 months. And full time. And it was a nice resort in Corpus Christi with a lot of amenities, or several. But also dramatic.
Nice big white concrete pads and blah, blah, blah. But we still learned that we could live with like 90% less of our possessions and our just amenities of living in a home, on a yard, but mostly possessions, and just living in a tiny space and cohabitating and working. I work full time from home. And so figuring all that out, and the first month or two, you're stubbing your toes or hitting your elbow or whatever, walking through, because it is a small space. But if you have the right components, in our case, this Brinkley, that has just the right cuts of rooms, small, tiny rooms, it's plenty. Well, and to your point, when we first, I'll back up a little bit. We sold our house in July.
We sold it in October.
We sold it in October.
We put it up for sale though in July.
Put it up for sale in July. We thought that house would probably take, based on the market, and everything being what it is. We really thought we would probably just now be selling our house. This is May 2025. We really thought when we put our house on the market last year, because of the way the real estate market has been a little sluggish nationwide. We really thought that we would have about 9 months, even maybe a year, before we had to make any real plans to move. Surprise, surprise, our house sold much quicker than that. And at the time, and if you've watched our other videos, you know that we had a really nice little Intech Terra Rover, which was a great trailer.
Oh,
and that was what we owned at the time that we sold our house, and we moved that into the resort that Jackie was just talking about. And what we found out within about a week was the Terra Rover was an awesome little RV for weekending and for being in a week or so, but we also found out that it was not a trailer that we could live in. So pretty much the first week in it, when we looked around and decided for ourselves that, hey, this isn't going to work for a full-time residence. So we went and
like the first 3 days.
Yeah, first 3 days actually.
I'll be honest, yeah.
Because it was one thing to spend a week in it when we knew we were going back to our nice home. It was another thing to spend 3 or 4 days in it, realizing this is home now.
Yeah.
So we very quickly decided to upgrade and get something, but we didn't want something so big that we were back in the same situation where we were having to care for something the size of a house. So we didn't go for a big giant 40-foot fifth wheel, and that was never on our agenda. As a matter of fact, we looked at everything, and we wanted to keep something in that 30-foot or less range, but it needed to have a separate bedroom, a nice bathroom facility, a place that we could sit comfortably and relax
in the evening.
In the evening,
separate from like TV. The little dinette or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And have a separate dinette and have a desk area, because again, Jack works from home, and we really have to have a proper setup for her, which we achieved all that with this wrinkly 285 Z Air, and I'm pretty sure I've probably posted some videos about it, and there's probably some video going on right now while I'm talking. So.
So yeah, as far as adapting to smaller space.
So there was a lot of adapting that we had to do, and any of you who've been through this know exactly what we're talking about. But this is the one thing, we went from a almost 2,000 square foot beautiful home that was fully furnished. So we spent, once we got an offer on the house and the offer got accepted, of course, the first thing we did was start divesting the entire house of all our worldly possessions. So our dining room table, our bedroom sets, our all the things that we spent so much time and money on furnishing the house with became marketplace fodder. And we just continued to, the house got emptier and emptier. As a matter of fact, it got empty to the point where our last couple of nights, or maybe the last night there, we were actually sleeping the last couple of nights. Okay.
I ordered a what do you call it? The bed that the blow-up bed from like a local retailer, and they delivered it, and we slept on that. We kept that for future reference. It was kind of interesting to see some of our favorite furniture go out the door because there was some attachment. Well, there were some things that that we really loved. I mean, some pieces of furniture that we really had a great deal of affection for. But it is amazing how short time after, you don't think about those items so much, or you don't think about them at all. You just think of, how can I now be comfortable in this small space? And also, and I felt this yesterday morning when we first woke up here in Missouri, kind of in our, as you said, soft landing. We're not on our land, but we're close to it, and we're getting it prepped, and we're basically living we've made the transition.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I was getting my office set up because we're going to be in this one spot for a few weeks. And I just felt a lightness, a sense of, because out every single window I see woods, like you're seeing behind me. I heard birds chirping, I know I'm not trying to make it seem perfect. Obviously, there's a lot of work to do, but there's a sense of lightness and purpose in this journey that we have right now. Mm-hmm. And it buoys me to do the hard stuff around it. And I feel like there's a sense of, I'm grateful, but sense of that rightness about it.
Well, that's ultimately the hope for sure. But kind of getting back to our paring down, you kind of got us off track there a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I do that sometimes.
But so we took our almost 2,000 square foot home full of furniture, a great garage gym, which I absolutely loved.
Oh, that was hard.
That was probably the hardest thing for me to get rid of. But we pared all that down, and we wound up renting a big storage unit because there were some things we just didn't want to let go of and didn't want to get rid of. And there's everybody has memories and personal items and pieces of furniture that we thought, well, we'll figure out how to make this work.
Yeah.
And a funny caveat to that is that we rented this storage shed. It was a 14 by 30 storage shed, and literally we filled it up. Even though we had divested, a lot of our furniture, we still had this 14-foot by 30-foot storage shed that was full. So obviously we weren't done.
It was pretty full.
Divesting. I mean, it wasn't full to the ceiling, obviously, but it was pretty full.
Yeah.
And when and as we got closer to our launch date for coming up to Missouri, I started looking around for how we were going to get all of our items from there into Missouri, into another storage unit here. And, Jackie was not going to follow me in the pickup. So renting a big U-Haul truck and having her follow me was not an option.
Yeah. So
we had to get everything down to what would fit in the bed of our pickup and a U-Haul 6x12, which is the biggest trailer that they rent.
Pretty small.
So guess what we were doing? We were divesting of even more stuff. I spent the last week we were in Corpus Christi really stressing about how I was going to get all that to fit. And because
he's not kidding. He was.
Yeah, I was stressed, man.
Weighing on him heavily, and it was a nonstop kind of puzzle. I
will tell you that trailer left Corpus Christi fuller than I'm sure any 6x12 U-Haul trailer has ever been. I never weighed it, but I'm gonna say it was probably pretty close to its max cargo capacity. And we just got rid of more stuff, and now we have a 10 by 20 shed here.
Yeah, I'm not sure the dimensions.
10 by 20, so we reduced that. We got everything down, and we kind of had to laugh at ourselves on the way up here because we literally had, other than what we left in the Brinkley. Let me back up a little bit because this might not be making sense. We get all of our stuff from Corpus up to our new place in Missouri. Jackie was not going to drive my pickup through San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, and all that. It's just, she just doesn't feel comfortable doing that. Mm-hmm. And I didn't feel comfortable. If she didn't feel comfortable, I certainly wasn't going to feel comfortable. So we had to get all of our stuff up to Missouri because we needed to spend about a week up here getting some legal stuff done on the property, getting some things set up. Yeah. And then we turned around and went back to Texas to finish up some legal things down there for a couple of days, and end our lease with the resort that we were staying in, and of course get the Brinkley and get it back up here. So we had to make 2 back-to-back trips separated by just a few days. So as you can imagine, we were both pretty worn out by the time we got back to the Brinkley. And then we stopped in Texoma to see some family. Stayed at the Thousand Trails Resort there for a few days, and then made our way to Springfield, which is about 2 hours from where we're at right now, and spent a couple of days there just kind of breathing a sigh of relief, that we were finally, back up here with the Brinkley. And of course, now we're here at a resort just about 20 minutes from where our property is, and this is where we're going to be staying. We're hoping for only a month, but a lot of that's going to depend on what kind of progress we can actually make on the property. We've contacted everybody we need to contact. Everybody knows where we're at. Everybody knows that we're here. So now it's just a waiting game of getting all those processes taken care of. And as soon as they are, we will be pulling the Brinkley out onto our property. Where we'll start our next phase, which will be to build a house on that property. This video kind of rambled, and I know we've given you guys a lot of information, and I'm almost thinking that I should have broken this down a little bit more. And I don't know if all this is going to air in one video or not, but we'll take a look at it, I'm sure, with a couple of edits, and I'll throw in some pictures, because if you're anything like me, I don't really like videos where the couple is just sitting there talking to the video the whole time. So I'm sure, hopefully we'll have a couple of, we've got some good footage. I've got a lot of footage, so I'm sure that we'll have all that in there. So, but all that being said, thank you for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I know we probably didn't answer a lot of the questions that I thought we were going to answer by doing this, but maybe nobody has any questions. Maybe nobody really cares.
If you do, drop them in the comments, and we'll answer it next time.
Yeah, be sure to drop them in the comments, of course.
Hit the like button, all that.
Well, even better, I think they should subscribe. Because you know what? If they don't subscribe, I just want to show you what happens. If you don't subscribe, then he could become homeless. And I don't think anybody wants that, do they? Nobody wants that, do they, Walter? Oh, no. Thank you, Walter.
He's nonplussed. he's not buying it.
So anyway, like, subscribe, stay tuned. We've got a lot of content coming. I've got hours and hours and hours of video footage to go through that we're going to be rolling out over the next couple of weeks. And we are back, and we're back to stay. I'm committed to this channel. And now that I'm free of gainful employment, I'm having to live off Jackie now, and I'm hoping that that works out okay. So I'm pretty sure that it will. But anyway, thank you for watching the video today.
Thank you. Please
stay tuned, and we will be bringing out some really good content over the next several months. Actually, we've got a lot of footage to share. Like, subscribe, stay tuned, and we will see you next time. And until then,
keep on smashing bugs.
Yeah, keep on smashing bugs. All right, thanks, guys.
Feeling cute. Might go unload a U-Haul today.
Awesome. There it is.